Good evening and welcome.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. I am Tamara Blake Wallace, Planning Commission Administrator, and welcome to the September 18th, 2024 Planning Commission regular meeting. This meeting will be conducted as a hybrid meeting, allowing for both virtual and in-person participation. Serving as our moderator for tonight is Lisa Shepard, our Development Review Aide, who will now go over the rules and etiquette for tonight's meeting.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Shepard. I'm an administrative aide with Development Review, and I will be your Zoom moderator this evening. This meeting is being recorded on video and audio for record-keeping purposes. For those attending virtually via Zoom, please keep yourself muted to ensure no interruptions to the evening. If you are asked to speak and you are attending with audio only by telephone, you can mute and unmute using the phone's mute button or by pressing *6 on the keypad. If you are attending virtually with a computer or smart device, you can mute and unmute using the microphone mute button on the Zoom toolbar or by using shortcuts. Press Alt-A on a PC or Command-Shift-A on a Mac. When the floor is open for public comment or questions, those attending in person will be asked to speak first, and then those attending virtually. If speaking, please identify yourself for the record and then speak. If attending by telephone and you wish to ask a question or make comments, please press *9 on the touchpad to raise your hand, and you will be called upon in turn at the appropriate time. If you are attending virtually and wish to ask a question or comment, raise your Zoom hand and you will be called upon. Please say your name every time you speak for the benefit of those calling in who cannot see you. Finally, please use the Zoom chat to indicate if there are any technical difficulties or if you cannot hear the meeting audio, and we will work expeditiously to correct any issues. Please refrain from placing comments or questions in the Zoom chat, as not all in attendance at the public meeting can see those communications.
Thank you, Lisa. We will now turn the meeting over to our chairman to call the meeting to order and determine a quorum.
Good evening. My name is John Toohey. Welcome to the Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 meeting of the Calvert County Planning Commission. Wilson Freeland.
Here.
Christopher Gadway.
Present.
Richard Holler.
Here.
Greg Kernan.
Here.
James McQueen.
Here.
And Dale Weems.
Here. Welcome,
Dale. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to have you with us.
We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to item 3, action on the proposed agenda.
Does anybody have any comments on the agenda?
Motion to approve this evening's agenda.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kernan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
The agenda passes. The proposed summary of actions, any comments? A motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kernan. Second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That passes.
Now we will
Recognition?
recognitions of persons attending the meeting. Tonight with us we have from the Planning and Zoning staff, Mary Beth Cook, Director, Jason Brinkley, Deputy Director of Planning. Attending virtually with us tonight we have Judy Makel, Deputy Director of Zoning. In attendance with us tonight we have Tay Harris, Long Range Planner, Christine Fenimore, Principal Planner, Olivia Vedado, Planner 3, Amalia Pleek-Tam, Planner 3. Joe Cousineau is attending virtually with us. We have Kat Lockwood, Planner 1. And we have Becky Parkinson, our Planning Commission Clerk, and John Mattingly serving as our legal counsel. That brings us to item 6, major subdivisions for final review and action. On the agenda tonight, we have SDFP 143-153, Prince Frederick Crossing, Phase 4, lots 1 through 22. Background and discussion. I, Tamara Blake Wallace, the Secretary to the Planning Commission, certify that all conditions of the preliminary approval granted by the Planning Commission on the February 23rd, 2022 meeting for SD 138229, Prince Frederick Crossing, Phase 4, lots 1 through 22 have been met. The recommendations and next steps, the Planning Commission's options for course of action are approve as certified, recommend changes and approve accordingly, request additional information from staff and defer to a future Planning Commission meeting, or disapprove.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Does anyone have any comments?
I have a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly, sir.
Tamara, why is the reference number on the subject line different than on the background line?
That was a typo.
So which one are we referring to this evening?
The second number is the preliminary number, that's what the planning commission approved.
Oh, he's looking, oh, yeah, the February 23rd number?
Yeah.
Yes, that is what the subdivision number was at the time that it was done on February 23rd. Once they come in for final, it changes, and it's 143153.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Is this development under the new APFOs, or is this still
It's
Under
the
the-
old,
the what?
the old APFO.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, on the matter SDFP 143153, Prince Frederick Crossing, Phase 4, lots 1 to 22, recommend approval as certified.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Okay, that moves us on to item 7, applications for site plan review and action. Item 7A, CSPR 143181, the Weiss Markets, Lusby Gas and Go.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Christine Finnemore. I'm a principal planner with the Department of Planning and Zoning, and I'll be presenting the conceptual site plan for project CSPR 143181, Weiss Markets Gas and Go. The conceptual site plan was submitted and accepted by the Technical Evaluation Group, also known as TEG, at their regular meeting in June 2024. Staff have reviewed the CSPR for compliance with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, the Calvert County zoning ordinance, the Lusby Town Center zoning ordinance, and all other county ordinances and regulations. Here you'll see a location map. The property is located in the Lusby Town Center with frontage on Lusby Parkway, which is public, Maryland 765, also known as H.G. Truman Road, which is state, as well as Village Center Drive, which is private. It is located on a property recorded as Lot 1, Lusby Center. It's found at Tax Map 42, Parcel 405. The staff report has the property acreage incorrect. The property acreage is 8.12 acres, and that's correct on the plan. Apologize for that. A portion of the property is already developed with retail and commercial shopping center. It's anchored by the Weiss grocery store. This next slide shows the town center zoning in relation to surrounding zoning. So the town center is the purple in the middle. You see the site outlined in yellow. And then this slide goes into further detail showing the sub-areas within that town center zoning district. The property we're looking at is in the village commercial sub-area of the Lusby Town Center. The village commercial, excuse me, in the zoning ordinance reads, the intent within this district is to promote the intense use of land for commercial development in traditional patterns of development and to create an attractive destination for commerce and civic activities. And here you see the 2023 aerial. Property again outlined in yellow, and the town center boundary is in orange. This is a color exhibit of the site plan. You have the full conceptual site plan in your packet. The proposed development includes an automotive filling station, including 3 pump islands and a 204 square foot kiosk. If you see the purple rectangle right in the middle, that's what that is. There's also 3,000 square foot 1-story retail building that is proposed, and that's the larger purple rectangle. Associated site improvements including parking, loading spaces, stormwater management, landscaping, and lighting are also proposed to support the development. Parking requirements were evaluated for the overall shopping center to include the proposed development. The total existing parking spaces are 326. 254 total spaces are required. 41 are being removed, which leaves 285, which is more than enough that they need. Vehicular access to the proposed development is from Village Center Drive. You see the entrance there off of Village Center to the left of the kiosk. There are no proposed impacts, well, there are no existing wetlands, streams, or associated buffers on the site. There are no steep slopes, excuse me, I'm a little coughing, or hydric soils located within the area of proposed development. Therefore, there are no impacts to environmental sensitive areas. Forest conservation requirements were previously addressed for the property at the time of subdivision. Adequate public facilities requirements must be addressed with the site plan process. The traffic impact analysis, also known as the TIA form, was approved by the Department of Public Works on August 9th, 2024. And I did include that in your packet. There were some attachments that came with that. The project must also meet requirements for landscaping, lighting, stormwater management, and architectural review as part of the site planning process. Here you will see conceptual building elevations as received with the concept site plan submittal. And then I did also include this slide. It's got a side-by-side of the existing conditions of the site along with the proposed conditions. The project must go through the 3-step process for site plan approval, starting with conceptual site plan, which is where we're at, then detailed site development plan, and final site plan. At this time, staff recommends approval of the conceptual site plan CSPR 143181 for Weiss Gas and Go with the 4 conditions outlined in the staff report. The next steps for CSPR 143181 conceptual site plan Weiss Markets Gas and Go, the Planning Commission may consider one of the following options. Again, this is in the staff report. Approval with conditions is listed above by staff. Approval with modification to those conditions. Deferral if the Planning Commission requires additional information, or denial. And again, in your packet attached are the agency comments received, the site plan application, the TIA form with the attachments, and the conceptual site plan. The project engineer is present along with a representative from the applicant if you have any questions. And feel free to ask questions of myself at this time as well.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, we have any questions or comments?
I have one question to start off with.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So when this was presented back in, before I was on the Commissioner, I don't remember a building being added to the gas. So you got an additional 3,000 square foot building being built in front of an existing building? Was that in the original, when they came
So this is the
to us?
first time this site plan is being presented to the planning commission.
Okay.
Are you talking about the original site plan for the shopping center?
Well, just when they presented it and the commissioners passed it to come to the next stage. I don't remember seeing
When we changed the
anything.
zoning,
Yeah,
When the zoning got
I don't know
changed.
what it was, I just,
With the
we had a,
zoning text amendment?
could have been.
There was a text amendment, not quite a year ago that went through the process. I'm not familiar, I don't have that plan with me. I do have the text amendment adopting ordinance for reference.
Okay.
But, the text amendment specifically was for the
Gas
automobile filling station use,
Right.
which may explain the difference.
So, my next question is, the whole shopping center, is that Weiss's Shopping Center as ownership? Who owns the shopping center?
We are tenants.
Hmm?
My name is Alex Warden, I'm with West Market.
My name is Alex Orvia. I'm with Weiss Markets in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. And no, sir, we are tenants at the
Tenants.
shopping center.
Okay.
I cannot tell you the name of the owner. I don't have it with me. Apologize for that.
So I forgot to print out the site plan application for myself, but on the site plan application, the owner is listed
Okay.
and has to sign off on the application.
So
The owner's authorization says Peter Hill Brine.
So, have we notified him about the stormwater issues?
That's something DPW is taking care of. I can't answer that as of this time.
So, okay. So we have stormwater issues with that building in the back and its distribution. And it's been reported to the county.
To the county or to the state?
Planning and
JR is
zoning
aware of it.
And
Okay. I-
JR, and nothing's changed.
This is the first I'm hearing of it, but like Tamara said, it would be Department of Public Works that would be working through that situation.
Because I presume this would be going into the same stormwater additionals into that area. So we'll have another building and, we're adding, vehicles, more vehicles, so.
It looks like they have microbiome retention treating this portion of the site. So the answer might be kind of. The project engineer is here and maybe could answer that question more specifically if you're looking
What-
for an answer.
What I'm looking for is who takes care of it, who's gonna clean it, and who's gonna fix it.
Hi, my name is Dan Kelsch. I'm with COA Barrett here in Prince Frederick, Maryland. So the original shopping center done back in the early 2000s had to put on record a stormwater management easement and repair and maintenance agreement. First that I've heard, I didn't do this particular project, I did the original shopping center, but if Department of Public Works is on point, has been notified that there's an issue, I can guarantee you that they'll be in contact with the overall shopping center owner to get it rectified. All the water from this does go through the microbiome retention, which provides water quality improvement, but then it does overflow from that to the existing system that was designed to handle that whole shopping center. So your notice is, valid, but there is a process and legal documents to cover that.
So I just hope somebody will get back to me when they're gonna be working on this.
I will follow up with JR tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or questions?
Just a quick question, if I
Certainly,
could.
sir.
Just 2 underground storage tanks being installed. How many grades of gasoline will be sold at the facility?
sell 3 grades of gasoline, regular, medium, and premium, and we will also sell diesel.
So the tanks shown in the site plan are compartmentalized tanks?
One is compartmentalized, so that one portion carries premium, the other portion of that same tank carries diesel. Regular fuel is on the large tank. They're both total 15,000 each.
Thank you.
Sure.
Another question.
Certainly, sir.
What is the retail site for? Considering there's all kinds of retail already there that's empty.
There's a little bit of a misconception in the slide that shows existing conditions with a retail building. That retail building doesn't exist currently.
Right, you're gonna
Okay,
build, you're gonna
so-
build a new retail
So what
building.
we are proposing in hand with, by the way, I read my file, Brick Properties owns the Lusby Town Center. With them, we have engaged to modify the future phase of the shopping center, and instead of providing 14,000 square feet of retail, we are taking a portion for the Wise Gas and Go, and we're allowing 3,000 leftover space for additional space. But that is not necessarily defined right now. It's space for lease.
How many square feet are vacant currently, do you know?
They don't exist, sir. The portion of the building that's
No,
shown in
No,
the-
no, no.
Current
In the
vac-
existing shopping center, we have Weiss.
Oh, okay.
We have Weiss as the anchor in the center, and then we have, I think the number, Jim, you might have a better number, is 8
Six.
vacancies
6 to 8.
6 to 8
It varies on a
vacancies?
regular basis.
Currently, and they've been vacant for quite a while.
Sir, this is proposed for future as well. So this additional retail space, I am not in control of where we will, when the owner will build it. Okay, first phase of the project will be to install the gas and go for West.
I think the point is, Brick Company, who owns the shopping center, would have that answer. The representative from Weiss Markets wouldn't. They're just one of the tenants. The engineer doesn't have a good answer for you. All I can say is that, you know, given the retail down there, you know, they may phase the 3,000 in, you know, at the appropriate time when there's more demand down there, but that would come back to a later point.
But yet you're asking for approval for it now.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
The goal would be to be able to build everything all at once, correct?
If,
Let it sit there.
so you're gonna build an additional building to be vacant.
I don't think their goal is for it to be vacant. I don't know that.
I cannot answer the question for the Brick Company. I'm a tenant. I am proposing the gas station as Weiss Markets, right? And the owner decided to retain approval for that 3,000 square foot retail. Don't know exactly the plans regarding the schedule of construction for that.
The retail building won't be part of the Weiss Market.
Correct.
So why is it on this,
Yeah.
why is it on this plan?
Because again, we are obligated to, with the owner, to develop and obtain development approvals for both the gas station and this portion of, since he has already approvals on 14,000 square feet of building that he never erected.
So you're saying he already has approval, or he's trying to seek?
Yeah, no, that was already approved in the original shopping center.
On the left-hand side of that drawing that's up there, the two rectangles that are separated by a darker grayish area, those were two separate, roughly 7,000 square foot each buildings. And as you can see in the right side, with the development of the gas station, it displaced certainly the one on the left. And the area that was still left over could still accommodate the 3,000 square foot building. So they went from roughly 14,000 square foot of building there, down to just the 3,000 plus the gas pumps.
I am more confused now than I was when I started. Because it sounds to me like you're saying it's proposed on paper, but what you're saying now is it's been approved for years.
If I may,
Please.
and I did not review the original site plan, that was before my time, but I've put eyes on it, so I know what they're talking about. What you see on the screen on the left is existing conditions. Those rectangles are currently grass. The original site plan that was in the early 2000s includes buildings there. Those buildings never got constructed. I don't have a picture of that on this slide. But there were the original site plan included square footage of retail commercial in that space. And then what got built included what you see there today, which is, you know, the buildings on the right side of the existing features. So there are buildings that never got built. That's what they're talking about as far as square footage. So this proposal is to develop that portion of the site into what you see on the right, which is the gas and go, and then 3,000 square foot of commercial versus what was previously approved, which was, what did you say, Dan, 14,000 square foot. That 14,000 square foot doesn't show up on here anywhere because it's not constructed. But if we pulled out the original site plan, it would show there.
So would that original 14,000 be in the same footprint of where the gas and go and the retail building is going to be built?
Correct.
Roughly?
More or less in that portion of the site, yes. Because if you look at the bottom on the slides, you see Lusby Parkway as, you know, existing, and then there's green space. That part hasn't changed. So they're redeveloping the portion of the site, and it's gonna be more or less in the same spot that they had previous approval for retail commercial space that never got built. I don't know if I've confused you further or clarified just a little, hopefully clarified.
Makes a little more sense.
Okay. It also explains the parking counts, so, going back to, I spit out a bunch of numbers, but the parking was based on the original site plan, again, but not all of that square footage retail got built, so there's more parking currently today than they need. This is essentially infill development, redevelopment of a portion of the site, removing the spaces. They still have more than they need. It explains why there's an abundance of parking currently.
Understood, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Now, that old approval for 14,000 square feet, that's expired, I assume? Or does that linger for eternity? I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time.
The process for permitting, they would have to, if, for example, they wanted to build that, and I'm not saying they're not gonna do this, but if they wanted to move forward and build that with the way it's shown on an 04, 05 site plan, they would have to go through the permitting process, which means they may need to revise a portion of the site plan to meet standards that may have changed since then. It kinda depends. They would have to submit permit application. With that, there may be a site plan revision that is required.
Okay, thank you.
So all of eternity is not necessarily the case.
Yeah, that site plan would have technically expired, so they wouldn't even be able to submit that with the permit.
Okay,
So they would have to come back in for reapprovals.
thank you. Thanks.
I got another question.
Sure.
On the back page, Weiss says pharmacy, beer and wine. And if I'm correct, there's no beer and wine in the grocery stores?
No, there is.
The reason I asked that was because of that 3,000-foot building.
No, and we will not have it.
Okay, so that's wrong too. Okay.
I had, so,
I understand.
I'm sorry, beer and wine is typically a department within the store.
Okay,
I have a feeling that's a prototype detail
right.
that would apply in states where there could be sale of that. in
Yeah,
the
I noticed,
grocery store.
that's just a placeholder to advise
I-
the board.
that's what I'm
that
just
there will be
confirming.
signage.
That's
Yes.
fine.
Mhm.
That's what started me on the 3,000-foot building. Are you building another fast stop?
No, that's not our intent.
Okay.
It is not our intent right now.
Not right now.
I don't know what tomorrow brings.
So the original 14,000 square foot building that is currently not approved, it was approved at some point in time in the past, and that has expired. And so there is no approval for any structures out there at this point, correct?
That's what I heard the planning commission administrator say. Yep.
Right. Okay, thank you. A little more clear.
I have one question.
Certainly,
If
sir.
the 3,000 square foot building is built, could the other 14,000 still be built, or would it have to be reduced in size?
If you go back to that other slide,
This one?
yes. Just be clear, the two rectangles on the left-hand slide that are currently grass were where the two buildings sat. If you look over on the right-hand side, you can see that that whole area is taken up by the parking and configuration around the gas pumps. So there wouldn't be room to fit any more building than what you see there, which is the 3,000. Does that make sense?
Yes, okay.
So the green space in between the Lusby Parkway and the edge of the gas station has to stay green.
Correct.
It'll stay as a buffer.
There's a 30-foot green buffer. They have the walking trail that comes down through there as well,
Mhm.
and a
Okay.
bike trail too.
Thank you, sir. Do you have any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion perchance?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in regards to CSPR 143181, I move for approval with the conditions as listed above as recommended by staff.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second from Commissioner Kernan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Christine, thank you.
That moves us on to item 8, major subdivision applications for preliminary review and action. We do not have any on the agenda tonight. Item 9, long-range planning. Item 9A, we have a work session on the proposed amendments to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan and to the Huntingtown, Solomons, and St. Leonard Town Center master plans.
Hi, I'm Tay Harris. I'm the long-range planner of the Department of Planning and Zoning. How are you doing this evening?
Wonderful,
Good.
Tay. Thanks for
Good to see you, Tay.
joining us.
Thanks for having me. All right, so I'm gonna go over the proposed amendments to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan and the Huntingtown, Solomons, and St. Leonard Town Center master plans. So on May 21st, 2024, the Board of County Commissioners directed the Department of Planning and Zoning to eliminate the architectural review committees for the county's 7 town centers. The intent of the BOCC is to streamline the development review process by allowing staff to perform administrative review with each town center's master plan and zoning ordinance. And then on August 20th, 2024, as part of the Calvert County zoning ordinance update, the BOCC directed P&Z staff to allow a maximum of no more than 4 units per acre in town centers unless the current allowable density is less than 4 units per acre. So what this slide that you're looking at explains that, and then for architecture review committees, the elimination of those the affected town center master plans are Huntingtown, Solomon's, and St. Leonard's. That's why they're being brought to you before you go today. Yes.
Just maybe I misunderstand it. Then what you're saying, if I'm understanding it right, is that in the major town centers, you're gonna, everybody, whether it's major or minor town centers, is gonna be 4 per acre, whether they have public water or sewer or not. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Then, okay. I got the picture. Well, then there's no reason to have public water and sewer anyplace, because 1/4 of an acre, you got enough for 2 fields, you got enough separation for the well, and hopefully enough to build a dwelling or whatever you're gonna build. So why have public water and sewer? We don't need it now. We're gonna change the density to where it's meaningless. I know you don't, that's a
I know,
rhetorical
it's a
question.
rhetorical question, so I acknowledge that. Do you have any other questions?
I do. So,
Okay.
this doesn't affect Lusby Town Center?
Okay, so it affects all of the town centers. However, in the master plans listed right there, Huntingtown, Solomon's, and St. Leonard, they actually have mention of the architecture review committees in the master plan. So what we need to do is strike out those mentions.
Right.
So that's really what it is. It affects all town centers. And I would also just like to state that there are no more major and minor
Right,
town centers. They're all town centers. Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna affect them all, and like I said, the reviews are gonna be conducted administratively, so nothing's gonna change with the review other than taking extra steps out of the process. Right, okay.
Except you're gonna reduce the, in the major town, what we call major town center, you're gonna reduce it from whatever it is now down to 4.
As directed by the BOCC.
Yeah.
Per the BOCC, so yes.
Just in these town centers listed here?
Well, in every town center, so this applies to every town center. So when I say the 4 units per acre, except I believe it's Huntingtown and St. Leonard Town Center, they allow 2 units per acre for all development, except for Huntingtown also allows 1 unit per acre for residential development. So it's less units per acre, less density in those 2 town centers, but that's currently already permitted.
But in the Lusby Town Center?
So, I can't remember the density.
Jason Brinkley, Deputy Director of Planning. For clarification, what we're doing is modifying the town centers where it directly conflicts with what the BOCC is recommending. So in Lusby Town Center, that language is not in the actual town center master plan. It's in the zoning, which will be coming along with the zoning update. But it's not directly conflicting with what is being proposed by the, what is being recommended by the BOCC, if that makes sense.
And I don't know if you're asking what's currently allowed, but it is a reduction in the Leslie Town Center. Based on the records I have here, it's currently 9 acres, or 9 units per acre.
Right.
Okay.
So it'll be reduced down to 4.
So, my next question is, I got a advertisement, if you want it, where they're selling a piece of land in Lusby Town Center, saying they get 9 per acre.
Mary Beth Cook, Director of Planning and Zoning. Today, that is correct.
So
It
if they-
isn't until we adopt the updated zoning ordinance, potentially in December. That's our goal, that will change to 4 units per acre. So right now, today, it is still 9 units per acre.
So if they don't sell it by then, it goes to 4.
Correct. Let me correct that. If they don't sell it and subdivide before then, because they could get caught up in selling it and then having to go through the subdivision process and not make it in time, they would have to go to the 4 units per acre.
Does anyone have any other?
Thank you, Ted. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, Right, so then the maximum density update, the affected plans are the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, the Huntingtown Plan, and the St. Leonard's Plan, St. Leonard Town Center Master Plan. And again, it's the same concept. It's, the actual density numbers are included in those plans. If this gets passed, they will be wrong, so to make this, everything consistent, so the zoning ordinance is consistent with the comprehensive plan, because that's required. And the town center master plans also need to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So we're changing these plans because they either have a mention of the architecture review committees, or they have a mention of density, the actual number. So we're taking it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
But in some of the town center plans, there is no mention of that. Lusby, there's no mention of the architectural review committee, even though we do, or did have
We
one.
did have one.
Yeah.
Right, right, so, and you'll find every zoning ordinance for the town centers, that's where the bulk of the architecture review language can be found. So when this is brought, the zoning ordinance is brought, the updates brought for everyone, that is gonna be struck out in the town center zoning ordinances.
Right.
Right.
So now everything will be in alignment
Yes, that's
at the
correct.
new current number.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Which is what now?
4.
Thank you. Thank you. Be sure.
Okay, all right, so continuing on, so that's two aspects that I'm bringing for the amendments to the comp plan and the comprehensive plan and the town center master plans. Whoops, happy fingers. Twice, okay. Then the third component is, the current draft of the Calvert County zoning ordinance update proposes to change the designating zoning category for 8 parcels. These parcels are currently zoned Industrial 1, Rural Community District, and Farm and Forest District. The change would rezone these parcels as Heavy Industrial District, I-2, and the goal is to provide flexibility for businesses that generate little traffic, create high-paying jobs, and substantially contribute to the county tax base. These properties are located in southern Calvert County near existing infrastructure. They are shown on this slide, and they're also found in attachment E of your packet. So as I alluded to earlier, these requests may be processed as the ongoing zoning ordinance update. However, the amendment to the comprehensive plan and the Huntingtown, St. Leonard, and Solomon's Town Center master plans are also required pursuant to the Maryland Annotated Code Land Use Article 3-303. The zoning ordinance, the town center master plans must be consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. So prior to amending the zoning ordinance, P&Z staff recommends amending the comprehensive plan and the necessary town center master plans to reflect the above reference requests.
Another question.
Sir?
So, trying to make sure I understand this correctly. So the affected areas in Lusby are currently either rural community district or forest and farm areas, and you want to move that to heavy industrial 1.
So 7 of those properties are located adjacent to the Peel landfill, and they are located near to existing infrastructure. So that is, you know, that's the criteria, and they met criteria. Okay, so that's one, and then the other property is up by, is it? I know I can't. Calvert.
It's actually owned by Calvert Cliffs
It's currently-
Constellation.
It's currently
Yes.
owned.
Currently owned, yes. And so, I mean, these were properties identified by the commissioners to potentially increase the tax base by encouraging businesses that bring little traffic and jobs to the county.
Just like the business in the current park that's empty.
No, it's going, that is, Patuxent Business Park is actually a light industrial, and so this is gonna be more heavy industrial uses, potentially.
So my
What
question.
are,
One at a time, one at a time.
go ahead, Commissioner.
So my question is, all right, just think of future. So this land we're talking about is right above the sewage plant, going up along Route 4,
Yes,
touching where the park will eventually be built,
right.
correct? All right. So that area So would you ever have to enlarge the sewage area?
Yes, and they have the land already set aside to do that potentially.
Okay, so that's not gonna be infected in this change.
No.
So the next question, though, still, that's not a real big area, so why don't we change the industrial thing that we can't seem to sell companies into one, because it's nice and wooded, and it's protected by the road. So I don't understand why we would go after selling more county land when we already have one. So are we looking at that? That's my question, because really, we
So-
got dead land sitting there.
We do get, economic development is always working very hard to fill. We get updates all the time for Patuxent Business Park. There's interest, and I do believe there's 2 lots right now that companies are looking at. The only problem with that is it has an extra layer of state funding, so and I'm gonna get the term wrong, the Maryland Economic Development Commission has to approve what goes in there. So there are covenants on there. I think that would be difficult to take out of that because it was established and subdivided many, many years ago. So I think the commissioners really just want to take advantage of property that they own, in addition to Constellation also wanting to expand their potential on their side. And I mean, we have no plans. It's just an opportunity they identified and feel that it's something they want to move forward with while we're updating the zoning ordinance now.
So Constellation has land there, so does that land touch the Boy Scout farm? Park area? Because it's right there. I mean,
It is.
Conway,
Yes.
I'm
I
saying the
had 3
road
Boy
wrong.
Scouts, so I've been there many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to look that up. I'm not sure.
And what does the heavy industrial allow?
So that'll be coming forth in the zoning ordinance, many different uses. We had received some comments during the zoning ordinance update that people weren't happy about allowing asphalt plants, things like that. And so that's gonna be a topic of discussion of whether or not we're gonna keep that. But right now, today, we only have light industrial. So we're introducing heavy industrial to make a separation. Because Patuxent Business Park is light industrial, and it's never gonna have, really big, like, asphalt plants and things like that. So, just a higher level of industrial. We just didn't have that category in the county, and now we will with the update to the zoning ordinance if it gets approved.
So, go for it.
None of the area that's gonna be proposed to be converted from farm and forest is under any type of preservation or anything like that, correct?
It is not currently correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if I look at a map of Calvert County, all right, everything gets stuck in the south. And now you're adding heavy industrial in the south. Okay, so why? I mean, why do there's so much more room in this Calvert County? Why don't you just move it up a little bit further north and take that farmland and take that other land? I mean, if they already own it, I understand they have the rights to do what they want with it, and we have to approve that. But the one across the river by Sweetwater, across the road, I just gotta wonder why we need to do it when we already have Constellation. We got LNG that's gonna wanna expand soon. And all we're doing is putting everything heavy and industrial in the south, which also happens to be one of the most widely used waterway areas. I mean, we're just talking about more pollution. That's my point.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly, sir.
This might be Mary Beth. It appears that the lower heavy industrial area is going to take in what is currently the proposed location of Cove Point Park.
part of it.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is a park allowed in heavy industrial zoning?
It's going to be in the new zoning ordinance, yes. We
Thank
made sure that that change is being made.
Doesn't make sense. Why would you do that?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so here's, the next slide, there's the list of the properties, also included in your packet. And then here's the slide indicating or stating that the town center master plans and the zoning ordinance must be consistent with the comprehensive plan, and that's why we are going to proceed with a 60-day review based on the Board of Commissioners direction, County Commissioners direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
you
you,
don't need
ma'am.
anything
We
from us at
appreciate
all
it.
then? Okay.
All right, that moves us to item 10, items for discussion and/or action. That brings us to the Planning Commission proposed 2025 regular meeting schedule. Before you, you have the proposed meeting schedule for the upcoming year. We just need you to approve that schedule. Or amendments to the schedule if you so wish.
Ms. Parkinson, do we have the Mako schedule figured into this, or are we gonna have that conflict this year? We don't? Okay, adjust for that as we go along. Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have any comments or questions on the schedule? Does anybody have a motion for approval?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
motion to adopt the proposed 2025 regular meeting schedule.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Freeland. Anybody second?
Second.
There you go. Thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
And aye, so that passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
That brings us to item 11, items of interest. Before you, you have the site plan and subdivision list of projects that are in the works. Are there any questions or comments on those? Okay. Hearing none, that moves us to item 12, public comment.
I have no indication of anyone online who wishes to speak.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes as individuals and 5 minutes if you are representing a group. Are there any speakers?
Will you be answering any questions at all?
This is just public comment. If there's anyone online, you can raise your hand. I don't think we have anyone. No one for public comment. That moves us on to item 13, adjournment.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you so much.